Hi there, welcome back for another exciting another exciting chapter of Love and Money and Emotions. At least that's what we're calling it right now. I'm Ken Donaldson.
Hi, and I'm Holly Donaldson.
And this week, Holly, what are we talking about this week?
This week we're going to talk about money hoarding. And Ken, you might want to give an introduction for how this topic came about this week.
Well, actually, a couple things happened. One was that, unfortunately, we went to a memorial service, and a young man, he was early 50s, had passed away. And as we were leaving, we started to have a conversation. You know, unfortunately, funerals oftentimes will bring out some deeper issues with people. We started to have a conversation about money and saving money and preparing for retirement and preparing for the future and how important that is. But also the idea how much is too much to save, and how there are a lot of people, Holly meets them more than I do, they're money hoarders, and they're operating more from scarcity. Like there's never going to be enough, so I have to save.
Yeah, I do run into people who are very attached to money, and that's okay in some circumstances, but in many circumstances that I see, it causes problems. It causes problems in a relationship. It causes problems even in their own life, in that they aren't enjoying the fruits of their labor.
Right. And one of the examples, consider this sort of be like an archetype, is Scrooge.
Right.
So Scrooge was the classic money hoarder. And from what you can tell, his whole life was centered around money. He loved to count the money. He loved to make the money. And then he would love to go out and get the money. And his world became very, very small and tunnel vision. And isolated. He hardly ever went out of his office. People didn't want to talk to him. He didn't want to talk to other people.
Because he had his money.
Now, what's part of the driving psychological dynamic in this other than the scarcity based?
Well, what I've often found is that some people equate their self-worth with their net worth. And Scrooge sounds like he might have been one of those people that the only way he could get to feel good about himself was to think about the pile of money that he had. And I often see in my meetings, when I'm able to show people on a screen the number for their net worth that they've never looked at before, there's an emotional reaction. If it's good, they light up. And if it's not good, they kind of go down. And it would, in a perfect world, there wouldn't be that kind of emotional attachment to it. But with money hoarders, I think it goes to an extreme.
Right. And so the idea is, we were talking earlier about the self-worth coming from the net worth. And this is also people that have tied up their self-worth with their material possessions. Famous bumper sticker, whoever has the most toys wins.
Whoever dies with the most toys.
Whoever dies with the most toys wins.
Right.
But one of the things I brought up that I had heard along the way is that your net worth is based on your net work. And so we sort of made a triangle, because people who put their self-worth based on their net worth can end up very Scrooge-like. And Scrooge did not have a network. He lived in isolation. He didn't have friends. He didn't seek out professionals. He didn't have colleagues. You know, he had that one poor guy that worked for him that, he treated really poorly. So the idea of a network is getting out and being able to talk about some things, in this case, money. So part of a person's network might be starting with a financial advisor.
Sure, yeah, I love that idea.
Getting outside of themselves and, getting some feedback, some input, another perspective from somebody else. Because, we see the world according to the way we see it, not necessarily the way it truly is. And so that, network can help you see things from another angle.
Yeah, so I'm curious then, Ken, what would you suggest if somebody identifies with this and they think that, first of all, that they might have an issue with money hoarding, or if their partner might have an issue with money hoarding, what steps might you suggest?
Right. So I think there's really two basic things. One is, and again, Holly, this may show up in your practice more than mine, because people aren't always open to talk about their money when they come to see me. But knowing how charged this can be, these might make good psychotherapy clients, so they can figure out how to have a conversation about it, much less try to change or shift things. And then following up with a financial advisor, a financial professional. And so the idea, the end game here is really about having a balanced approach. So it's not leaning all in one direction. And again, we see the world according to how we are, not how it is. So when we develop our network, part of the idea is that we can help, others can help us see the world a little bit bigger, so we're not so tunnel visioned.
Right. So if you think you might have a money hoarding issue in your relationship or something like it, reach out for a network.
That's right. Develop your network. Now, stay tuned in the future, because we're also going to have an episode on the flip side of this, and those people that there are those impulsive, excessive, compulsive spenders, because we got a whole segment for them too. Probably even 2 segments.
Right.
Okay. So until then.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Holly Donaldson.
And Ken Donaldson. We'll talk to you soon.